Welcome to Energy Talks, a regular podcast series with expert discussions on power system testing topics. My name is Scott Williams from the podcast team at OMICRON, and I will be your host. In this episode, we are going to talk about developments in managing power system testing data in an increasingly digital work environment. A huge amount of data volume flows continuously back and forth between servers in the cloud and individual computers, so as a result, dusty paper exchanges or sending documents via email are quickly becoming relics of the past. Updates, uploads, or synchronizations within almost no time have become indispensable and promote the global workflow. With PTM Data Sync Web and PTM Data Analytics, OMICRON meets the current tendency and offers consistent work relief for the daily user. The two additional modules upgrade the popular testing software called Primary Test Manager, also known as PTM, with a cloud-based client server for secure backups and easy ways of sharing and analyzing server data. My guest in this episode is Martin Pfanner, one of the original founders of OMICRON Electronics and product manager for the Primary Test Manager software. He will tell us more about PTM Sync Web and PTM Data Analytics and describe how these tools can ease the daily work of commissioning and maintenance teams and also how cybersecurity demands can be met. Hello, Martin. Welcome back to Energy Talks.
Hi, Scott. It's great to be back and to talk to our listeners.
Martin, what are the specific changes you have observed in testing data management, and what have been some of the challenges of this up to now?
Yeah, it's a lot about data availability and access to data, because testing, of course, takes place locally, often remotely and offline in the substation. But to get access to the data and make data available again to others, this is moving online, and their online, mostly cloud-based solutions are a big trend we are watching.
What do you see as advantages of cloud-based software solutions for electrical testing?
I think the great thing about is that you really have data available for everyone connected, for all the testers in the team. Everybody is accessing the latest up-to-date data. And it's nothing anymore about transferring data via paper forms or via PDF files and then rewriting and retyping in a software. It's just available on spot.
What are the specific changes you have observed in testing data management or managing testing data? And what have been some of the challenges of this up until now?
I think it's coming more and more to the consciousness of many maintenance manager, asset managers, how valuable testing data is and how big and the deep the insights are they can get via detailed testing and diagnostic data to assess the condition of their assets. And this is not possible so easily by just scanning through PDF files or looking to print it out test reports. People want to have the data readily available.
Martin, why does data management gain such importance for electrical testing that you have developed specific modules for this purpose? Isn't it sufficient anymore to print out test reports or store them as PDF files?
I think it has to do as well with optimization and saving of time, and as well raising the data quality of testing data by avoiding mistakes that often are made by manually entering asset nameplate data or transferring test result data to a different software. And therefore, if you have a good data management, you can really raise the data quality and save a lot of time for the testers and others involved.
Doesn't Primary Test Manager already provide the needed data management features? Why do you offer PTM Data Sync Web in addition?
I think Primary Test Manager provides everything you need for a single person's tester team. So you have your local database, you can have the asset data in there, all your testing history. So for this situation, this is okay. As soon as you have a testing team with more than one person or a maintenance manager who wants to transfer templates to his teammates and wants to get back the results, there you need different procedures. And in the past, quite often this was done by storing data, exporting to a USB stick, bringing it back to the office, and then uploading to a server file structure. And this is not really up to date. I think the additional tools provided for PTM, providing a client-server system where you can easily share the data between members of a team and centrally store them in a safe place on the server, is really the way to go.
Okay, yeah, interesting. Using a client-server software system sounds quite complex from a tester's perspective. How easy is it to set up and use PTM Data Sync Web?
I think if you're a tester, he is client-server, he thinks this is IT, this is software, this is very complex. That's why we implemented it in a very simple way. The tester is using the primary test manager, PTM, as normally, and the only things added them there for him are two things. He has one button where he can subscribe to different location or substations to download all this related data to his computer. And he does this, and this is the second button, this is a synchronize button. So as soon as he is connected to the internet, he gets this option. He can say, this week I'm testing in these 3 substations, so I subscribe to these 3 ones. And then as I synchronize, and all the data is downloaded. And at the same time, all new testing data he generated is uploaded to the server. This is everything the tester has to do. So it's very, very easy and straightforward. And the second part of the question, how easy it is to set up, I would say for each PTM client software, it's taking about 5 minutes to configure it. And it because it's cloud-based in the web, that the deployment is done by OMICRON, so it needs no involvement of internal IT departments or IT consultants. So this is very easy and straightforward for the user.
But what happens if a user cannot connect to the internet, for example, testing in a remote substation without web access? Does this prevent the person from doing their job?
No, not at all. We made sure that the testing itself can be done completely offline. So there's no need to have a constant connection to the internet. This is only needed for the synchronization.
This could be essentially done back in the office then, right?
Yes, normally the user knows what he will do next day, and he already downloads the data needed. Being out there in the field, he has everything locally on his computer in the local PTM database, can do his job. And as soon as he is connected again to the internet, he just presses synchronize and data is uploaded again. If the connection there is there available in the substation, we would suggest to do this more than once a day, that the data is saved as well in shorter intervals. But if the connection only is available in the evening after the testing day, this is working as well.
Okay. How safe is it to store data in the cloud? How can users keep their data private?
Quite often users have the feeling, if I put my data in the cloud, it's not safe anymore, and everybody can look at it. And what you have to know about cloud-based systems, of course, you need a good hosting provider there who runs very safe and up-to-date data centers following all safety standards. This is done in our case via Microsoft Azure. And they run data centers around the world and being really up to the latest safety standards. And this includes geo-redundant storage of the data, that if one data center is affected by a data loss, the data is not really lost, but is as well stored elsewhere. And the other thing to know is as well that if you go for such a PTM data sync web solution, it's not one OMICRON cloud where the data of all users come together. It's a private instance per customer. So this is they have their own database, which is isolated from all the others, running on their own separate virtual machine.
Very interesting. Martin, you just explained the safe backup and privacy of data in the cloud. What about cybersecurity and the protection against hacker attacks?
This has several aspects. One is to secure the access to the data. We do this in different ways. The web-based access via browser, there we have a two-factor authentication, which makes an access quite safe. For uploading of testing data, this only can be done by a licensed customer via the PTM client and with a valid certificate. So as well, there is security built in. And the whole protection about cyber threats, there is a constant monitoring done by Microsoft themselves, where alerts are immediately forwarded. And then we can react very fast. And if there a fix has to be made, we can just deploy this within hours.
Data Sync Manager is a tool that is delivered together with PTM Data Sync Web. What functionality does it provide to the user?
Data Sync Manager is a tool which gives you a web browser access to the data. So in contrast to just using the PTM client for the testing, and this is normally all the tester needs to do, maybe an administrator within the team, this might be the maintenance manager, wants to get another view on the data directly on the server. And this is done with Data Sync Manager. So this Data Sync Manager provides some administrative functionalities, like looking who changed what data when, and if one of the testers accidentally deleted a test or a job, that you can undelete or restore earlier versions of a job and doing things like this.
Okay.
On the other hand, it gives you as well some overview of all the data. So you have a dashboard where you can see how many jobs, how many assets, what's on there. And if you want to get a deeper insights really into the testing results, there is an additional license package, which we call PTM Data Analytics, where they then really can drill down into the test results.
Martin, how can a maintenance manager benefit from PTM Data Sync Web?
The maintenance manager can keep all data in a central place, whether it's all the asset data that's relevant for testing, all the historic test results, current test results, and he can make sure that all of his team members have access to this data, that nobody is using old data or has to re-enter data that's not available. This is the one thing. And the other thing is he gets a very good overview about his assets testing state. So he can get an easy overview which of the assets were not tested for a long time, or the testing state and the condition by drilling down, an example, looking at the transformers, subcomponents like the bushings, like the tap changer, and look there at the key performance indicators that show him, is this asset still in a good condition or not?
Martin, are there any interfaces provided with PTM Data Sync Web that allow a data integration within a bigger software ecosystem?
Such interfaces are part of the PTM Data Analytics package that comes on top of the PTM Data Sync. And these interfaces are once an OData interface, which is a general standardized data interface to give access to all the test result data. And such an OData interface is implemented in most of the major software components out there. Like if you want to do some business intelligence and do analysis of test results yourself, you can directly connect to an Excel or a Power BI for your own analysis. Or you can connect your data to your leading asset management or asset performance management system using this OData interface.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, if you want to import all the nameplate data that you already have in your asset management system to the PTM server, there is a JSON interface available to do this import. So
Okay.
there is, with PTM Data Analytics, the interfaces are there for doing a data integration.
Martin, can our customers try out PTM Data Sync Web and PTM Data Analytics before subscribing to them annually?
There is an option there. Of course, the first step would be that we do a demonstration to them. That they can see the functionality. If they really want to play around themselves, we have a combined PTM Data Sync Web plus PTM Data Analytics trial package, where we make an own deployment for them, so their private database in the cloud. And this comes for a very attractive price and is available for 5 users for 6 months. And to our experience, this is sufficient time for them to play around, to play as well with the interfaces, do their own analysis, and come to a purchasing decision.
Martin, is there anything else you would like to say?
We see that customers really benefit from this data management tools, and they can save a lot of time and gain more out of their data they create with testing.
Definitely see that as a future trend, that working with testing data will be more and more cloud-based in the future.
It clearly is. And what you see as well, of course, there is online monitoring around, but most of the time the online monitoring gives you just some basic parameters or an alert that there might be something. For a deeper insight, you need testing and diagnostic data, and as well as reference data for monitoring.
Definitely. So you mentioned monitoring data. Will users be able to eventually also upload this data to the cloud?
I think this is clear a trend, and there will be future solutions where you combine testing data, so offline testing data and online monitoring data in the cloud.
Okay, very good. Well, Martin, thank you very much for telling us about the new web-based, cloud-based features of PTM software.
You're welcome. Thanks a lot for having me.
It was great talking to you. And a big thank you to our audience for listening to this episode of Energy Talks. We always welcome your questions and feedback. Simply send us an email to podcast@omicronenergy.com. Omicron has several years of experience in power system testing and offers you the matching solution for your application. For more information, be sure to visit our website at omicronenergy.com. Please join us to listen to the next episode of Energy Talks. Goodbye for now, everyone.